So up next, I am so stoked to tell you who is here. Mr. Zion, please join us. Come on down. We're gonna be
What's
talking.
up?
Hey, look at you. How you doing?
Tell me, how you doing?
Good. How was the protest?
It was okay. We kind of got out of there before they we met at Mission High School in San Francisco. There's probably, I don't know, there's a lot of, maybe seven, eight, I don't know how many thousand people. There's a lot of folks out there. And then the idea
That's
was to,
great.
yeah, when we left, they were starting to march towards the Mission police station.
Ooh,
I had to come do this. So yeah, I'm sure it's gonna change up the vibe a little bit now. It was very
yeah,
peaceful. It was good to see like a lot of people. You know what I mean? Like this is an issue. It's interesting because I mean, my whole life I've been dealing with these issues. You know what I mean? As an African
right.
American, and like the other night I was making a playlist like of basically protest music that I grew up listening to, and I was tripping out because I had like Kendrick Lamar, which is a modern rapper, but then I had Public Enemy, which is 90s. Then I had Sam
Mm-hmm.
Cooke, which is music's from the 50s. Then I had James Brown from the 60s, 70s. And I was like, yo, this is a part of our story. And it's interesting because we've been living it. And now I hope that this is a breakthrough moment when the larger society starts to understand that these are not narratives that are made up or fake news, as they like to say these days. This is like an
Yeah.
experience that's generational, and it's been like that, and it's been created this way on purpose. And it's ever since we were stolen and brought here against our will, it's been a way for us, and that this society is built on that. The blood of my ancestors, you know what I mean? As well as the blood of the Chinese, as well as Latinos, as well as white folks too. But Native Americans were the first ones to bleed here. So it's
Yeah.
I hope that people are working and opening, awakening to the historical context that we're living in now, that we can see the injustice through our phones and we can witness it, and it's not secondhand experience, like we can see it for ourselves. There you go.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the most important parts because, like, for as much as we all talk shit about social media and how it's ruining the world, I think in this moment that we're living in right now, it's probably one of the most important things to help us see these stories firsthand, like you
Right.
said. Um, so, talk to me a little bit about your. I do you classify yourself as a conscious rap artist, or did I just pull that from your bio? Like, what? How would you describe yourself and your career in music?
I would definitely say I'm a conscious artist. I've always been inspired by people that brought light to my eyes. Um, like I said, Public Enemy, it was one of the first groups I vibed to. KRS-One, the golden age of rap when like being conscious was cool.
Yeah.
That's what I grew up on. And because at that point in my life, it was like, it was hard growing up black. You know what I'm saying? Depending on where you were, but it's difficult, especially where I moved from the city in Philadelphia as a young kid into like Cincinnati, which was like a mixed neighborhood. And then I moved from there to Rhode Island, which was mostly Italian and Irish. Then I moved from there
Yeah.
to Texas, where it was blatantly racist. Like the East Coast was not that bad. I had Italian families bring me in. One of my best friends, Robert Salento, and then the kid across the street, Michael O'Brien. Like these were my friends, and their families accepted me. Then when I moved to Texas, it was like nigger, nigger, nigger all the time, and like super racist against Latinos. So that's when that was fourth grade when I moved there. That's when I really started to feel the sting of racism. So when I heard hip hop at an early age, for one, it was like, okay, that's a distinct voice that it gives me. I feel like I'm cool now. For once in my life, I feel like I'm cool hearing somebody that looks like me do something I've never seen before. But then as I got older, it was like, oh, this is actually our voice. Like I haven't heard anyone speak. Like I started to realize I had never heard anyone talk about these things before that resonated so much with me. And it was like, oh, this is our news. This is how we communicate with each other from Oakland to LA to Brooklyn to Atlanta to Chicago, all these different places. Now we have actually like a telephone wire running between us. And so I thought for me growing up that was the main thing it did for me. It strengthened my confidence in myself. It gave me a stronger self sense of self-esteem. Uh, it exposed my brain to different thoughts, and being positive in the midst of immense negativity. It helped me connect with civil rights leaders like Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, even Martin Luther King, getting deeper into his philosophies. And so it was something that really, it touched my spirit and it gave me purpose. And so, yes, I consider myself a conscious artist because I believe it is very important for us to remember where we came from in order to see where we're going. And in this moment, I think a lot of conscious artists are being like, okay, it's our time again, because obviously hip hop music it's been taken in a different direction. And I'm not gonna say it's bad, because we do have dope artists like Kendrick and J. Cole, and Joey Badass. There's a lot of guys still holding the torch, but in general, I feel like it's become escapist. And so at times like this, it's like, no, like, you know, we gotta stay on it. And I'm gonna throw one more thing out there. I feel like when Obama got elected, a lot of Black America kind of went to sleep and felt like, oh, it's cool now, like we're good. And we see that the reaction to that has been so intense and so like vengeful. It's almost like it's worse than it was before.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. So how has it been? So let's talk about, well, when was the last time you performed live somewhere for an audience? Because COVID happened, touring's not happening. So like, when was the last time you were up on a stage?
I believe in front of an actual crowd. I think at the beginning of March I had a show, or definitely at the end of February I was in Toronto for a show, and then I had the Oakland Roots show, which is a soccer team in Oakland. We performed out there. I think it was, I believe, the beginning of March. So that's the last time.
So it's been a minute.
It's been a minute. I've done a couple live streams, which is dope, but it's definitely different. You don't feel the interaction of the crowd. You don't see the people.
Right. So how is prior to the protests and everything with George Floyd and Breonna and Ahmaud and everybody else, what was quarantine like for you? Does not performing impact you in a negative way?
Definitely. I mean, financially,
right. Yeah.
I mean, that's very obvious, but I think also just, you know, I'm a social person. The music industry, all my friends are mostly musicians. We like to get together, and like really my shows is when I hang out with my best friends. Like, you know what I'm saying? We work together, but it's like I work with my friends. So that's part of like, I look forward to going on tour with my homies. You know what I'm saying? Because then we get to have these conversations on the planes and the car rides. Like that's because I got 3 kids and I have a lot of, you know, other stuff going on in my life. So that's actually my social time in a way, as well as work. So not being able to do that, it was very much like, wow, you know what I mean? Like I don't have that outlet. I'm pretty hermetic in general. Like I stay to myself. I stay in the studio. I stay at home. I work out. I go to my Qigong class. All that stuff was still going. But coming home and then looking around and being like, damn, like it took me, I'd say about 6 weeks to normalize and be like, all right, I have to use this time spiritually to tune in instead of I felt like I was numbing out for the first half, maybe. And then at that point, I was like, all right, if I don't tune in, meditate, chi up, and like really center myself, I don't know when this is gonna end. And I have to accept it as a challenge spiritually to really like look at my dark side and look at the shadow. Because
what kind of shadow?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, you were gonna hit it, so go.
No,
yeah.
you. I was gonna say what I like that you referenced shadow work. So what kind of shadow work, if you don't mind me asking, like what has come up for you during this time?
I mean, I feel like really like deep things like worthiness. Like, am I worthy of praise? Am I worthy of love? Am I worthy of success? Things with my parents growing up, like patterns that I hold to this day. Vulnerability with my heart, being able to open up to love myself and love others from a pure space and not egoistic, not trying to control. And really just like dealing with coping mechanisms, like getting too high. Like I'm gonna be completely honest and transparent. Like in the beginning of quarantine, I would wake up, smoke, lunch, smoke, dinner, smoke, and I'd be hot. Like, it was insane. Like, keep going around my day. I'm not this type of person. Some people do this all day, every day, but I'm not the type of
Right.
guy to get high and then go shopping. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I'm standing in these mega
Yeah.
lines, 30-minute long lines, high, just like whatever. And like, that's not really me. Especially like I'm a
Yeah.
middle-aged man, and I had to look at myself like I have to really like take this on the chin and accept like I'm gonna have to deal with this pain I'm feeling in a different way, in a more proactive way instead of reactive, because I was trying to numb out the insecurity I was feeling about what was gonna happen. How am I gonna make money? You know, how am I gonna spend time with my kids if we can't go to this? All the skate parks are closed, all the basketball courts are closed. They can't go to
Right.
school. I got a homeschool. My kids are going crazy. My kids are 9, 5, and 3. So the 9-year-old is good to go. The 5-year-old and the 3-year-old homeschooling is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm dealing with court because I was in court in the beginning of March for custody of my kids. So there's a lot going on. Do you see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Uh, and it took me a while, and all of a sudden I was like, I felt like God was like, I just woke up so depressed one day, and sometime in maybe like the first week of April or somewhere around there. I just was so depressed, and I was like, why do I feel like this? And I was like, well, you've been smoking for the last 28 days straight. That's one reason. But two, it's like, I realized I wasn't really dealing with the issues that I was feeling. I was trying to run away from them, and now there's nowhere to run. I can't distract
Yeah.
myself anymore. And in a lot of ways, to like push the conversation further, I feel like this George Floyd situation, all of this is collective shadow work. These are things that have been
Yeah.
there that we've been so distracted from that now everybody's sitting in quiet at home dealing with their things. And this comes up, and now people are forced to choose a side. Either you're with it or you're against it. Like sitting there being quiet and talking about my music only propels the oppression. Sitting in your little bubble at the house, drinking wine and doing yoga doesn't address what's going on for a lot of us out here. So I think it's like,
Yeah.
it's collective shadow work right now that's happening.
Yeah. I like that too. That's a good, I like the idea of collective shadow work, and that phrasing makes all of this feel a little bit more manageable when you think of it in the context of doing shadow work versus just like, here's this thing and everybody's on quarantine, so everything's fucked and everybody's scared. Like, we have an opportunity to really heal some deeply seated trauma in this country, in your community, in communities all around the country. So when we talk about lyrics matter, what does that mean to you, and how do you feel, like, what is the opportunity right now with everything going on to really lean into intentional lyrics?
I mean, one of it makes me think of my boy Kamal, who lives in Bali, and he's like the deep meditation Qigong guy. And he posted something that really resonated with me. He posted something and I reposted it on Instagram. And he was saying, like, stop repeating, I can't breathe. Like, because the word is a mantra, and we repeat these things over and over again, and we start to manifest. And he was saying, instead,
Mhm.
say, I can breathe. I'm breathing deeply. And like you said, lean into positive affirmation rather than like rechanneling oppression and suffering. We've had enough of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Like, as an African American, like, the legacy in this country is misery. You know what I'm saying? And our pain is like packaged up and sold on a regular basis. Whether it's gangster music, whether it's pimp, whether it's hoe, whether it's precious, whether it's training day, when you get awards for these things, like, the happiness and the joy is not something that's really promoted and sold in America. It's the pain that gets the money because it
Mhm.
affirms this is who you are. And so I think it's like the lyrics side is to really tap into a spiritual perception of, like, for me, on a personal level, I've had to tell myself when I get up, like, the universe is conspiring for my highest good. The universe is conspiring for I just repeat that over, especially when I'm feeling bad. I just say that over and over and over and over to myself. And I've never had to be so militant in trying to be positive. And I've been meditating since like 90 something. Like, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like all that training is showing me that like, nah, bro, you have to be super disciplined and diligent. Because for me, if I don't do that, if I don't tell myself positive things, if I don't lift myself up and surround myself with positive people, it's so easy to fall into the black hole right now of uncertainty, of not knowing where you're going, not knowing how I'm going to pay my rent next month, not knowing if, you know, I'm going to see my kids because something might happen where they close the freeway and these riots are jumping off and now I can't, like, it's a lot going on. And so I think Lyrics Matter is, for me, it's a way that I tap in with myself and all my friends, and we create positive music that when I listen back to it, I'm inspired to do more good for myself and my community instead of listening to it and getting angry and amped. Fuck this shit, fuck the system. Like, yeah, I do feel that way. I do. But at the same time, I'm trying to create something that's like uplifting and yeah, let's go fight, but let's do it the right way. And let's not forget like the intention of love and being grounded in love and just being grounded, period. Because it's easy right now. There's so much energy, there's so much charge in the air that it's easy. Like, I mean, I'm working out with my boy yesterday at the lake in Oakland, teaching him Qigong. And two dudes start fighting right behind us. And we're just like, bro, why are you trying to run up on this dude and fight right now? He's like, yo, he rubbed into me. And I was like, man, we're all on edge. You got to calm down, man. You got to give people like, you got to be super compassionate to the point where my ego has to take a step back, or else, you know, we're all gonna be out here shooting each other. So lyrics matter to me in terms of mainly how we speak to ourselves, about ourselves, the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, and trying to change that inner dialogue and being like, instead of, oh, I can't do it, oh, it's fucked up, and being like, all right, this is an opportunity for me to learn something new. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be all right. I'm gonna get through it. And speaking to ourselves in positive ways. And then musically, just giving people some affirmative, like lift up. Like, I know it's hard, but we've been through it. Like I look to my ancestors because I think about what they went through, like the brutality for hundreds of years, the rapes, the killing, separation from family, just treated like cattle, treated like property. And now they suffered all that, and I'm here, and I actually have a choice. And I'm, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard still, but it's not the same. It's not the same level. It's more of like a mental thing. So I still have an opportunity to build on what they left me. And so this is where, to me, lyrics matter comes in, because we have to trudge forward. We have to fight a good fight. Just because it's an evil system and it's negative and it's hard doesn't mean we have to like resort to devilish ways ourselves. We can still be godly in our manifestation on this planet.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the ways that you've been able to find grounding during this period?
My main way would be meditation, at least once a day. If I don't, like right now, I really feel it. If I just sit and meditate, when I have the kids, especially, I try to get up before they get up and sit like 15, 20 minutes. And if they're not with me, I sit for as long as I feel like. And that helps me it's like I have a cushion for my mind. Guys, I'm gonna hop out right here and talk in front of the house. Is that cool? I have a cushion for my mind to simply like not be so stressed and not be so tense. Secondly would be Qigong, which, hold on, I'm gonna say peace to my homies. Peace.
Okay.
They're dropping me off from the protest. We're getting out of here.
Thank you, friends.
I love you guys, man. Talk to you soon. Peace. I'm sorry, I'm messing this all up.
No, you're good, man.
Secondly would be Qigong, which is, to me, it's like alignment and breath work. I've been training that for about 10 years, but I just kind of reinvigorated my practice maybe a year and a half ago. And that's been something that, like, even during quarantine when it first started, my group would still meet up, a few of us, 2 or 3 guys out in the park in the sunshine or rain or cloud, it doesn't really matter. We show up and then just breathing, sitting there for an hour, 2 hours, just doing this intentional breathing postures, and literally it's about grounding. It's like your feet are on the earth. Yeah, I'm gonna stay here. Breathing deep, calming the nervous system. It's it's like such a blessing that I've learned that, and I have that practice. It almost feels like all these things I learned, because I started doing a lot of this stuff in the 90s when my college time in Atlanta, and it really empowered my music initially. If you listen to Mind Over Matter, you can hear it. I'm just like meditating 2-3 times a day. It's very like centered music. Like I listen to it now and I'm like, wow, I was really tapped in. And now all those practices have returned to me in a much more vital way, almost. It's like back then I was seeking for like, I want to be enlightened, reach nirvana, Buddha. I'm gonna, Kundalini rising, like all these things, that are present. And like, as a young seeker, that's what I was after. And now it's like, no, like these things are so you don't go crazy. These things are so I can simply hold my life together and be a good father, so I can deal with my issues, so I can do the shadow work, so I can look and understand that my heart is compromised. I need to be more vulnerable, opening up to myself and to other people. I'm holding myself back and being able to answer these tough questions inside myself, like, especially during a time like this when it seems like the whole world is shifting, being able to be, okay, I'm going to be the calm in the storm. I'm going to be in the center of it, and I'm going to be calm. Even though I see things swirling around me, I'm going to hold steady and breathe and know at least where I am and know where my boundaries are, at the very least, rather than getting caught up and I start to swirl and, oh, no, I don't know who I am anymore and I'm caught up in it. So that's what these practices have done for me. I'm like so grateful, and I really want to share them with people. And I need to step out and start sharing what I have, because not that I'm a master of any sort, but I think the basic knowledge that I have would be very useful for people in these times, because it's so stressful. I mean, it's almost unbelievable what we're going through. I don't know if in modern history, if we can really equate this to anything.
Well, and that's what I was trying to think back to, is like, is there anything remotely close to what we're experiencing now? Maybe, but not in the sense like we were talking about earlier, where everybody's at home, 40 million people are unemployed. There,
Right.
like there's so many things that are like stacked on top of it right now, in addition to this injustice and the police brutality that's been happening for hundreds of years.
Right.
You were talking earlier about choice and how you have a choice and stuff like that. So you were busy standing up with your community while I was reading my chapter. This because the whole thing about this campfire is I read a chapter and then we talk about it. So in this chapter, I talk about, and the reason that I invited you to join us on this particular day is because I heard a lyric from Stick Figure, and it was from Choice Is Yours. And it's when Kyle says, the choice is yours, the choice is mine. You can't please everybody all the time. That lyric changed my life. Like, I was in the shower, I was getting ready to go film a documentary shoot about my life with diabetes. And I heard this thing, and I just realized, like, I've literally been living my entire life to make somebody else happy, to live up to their expectations, to do all these other things. Like, it was massively impactful.
Yeah.
Are there any lyrics that stick out to you over the course of your career that you've heard or that you've written where you're just like, damn, like that is my life?
I mean, there's so many, like, there's so many. I can't think right now. Oh, I feel bad. I can name songs very easily, like A Change Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. Like, that song to me, it will never go away, because I feel like it really embodies the hope and the anguish of living in this country. But I think it's also indicative of the human experience, period. I think he really captured the feeling of, like, he's a great singer. I mean, his voice is beautiful, but then he's talking about like how he grew up. And then, like, I want to go to a movie, but you're saying I can't go to the movie. Why can't I go to the movie? It's just such an innocent, it's almost the way my kids talk to me. Like they get it, but they don't get it. You know what I mean? It's like, they're like, Dad, why are these places boarded up? Why are they protesting? And I'm like, oh, shit. And I'm trying to explain why. And then I see my son's eyes go, and I'm like, am I telling you too much? And he's like, I'm uncomfortable. And I'm like, all right, I'll stop. And that's the hardest part, is that you just don't want to take away the innocence of life. You know what I mean? Like there's such a beauty. Like it's crazy. Like I'm in San Francisco right now. The sky is electric blue. There's not a cloud. It's warm for once. It's so beautiful. No, really. And like you look, I mean, I would show you, but it'd be like, I don't know if you can witness it through the phone on Zoom, but it's like such a wonderful day. And then there's people down there protesting because of all the situation. It's like there's this, I mean, the yin and yang and Tai Chi and all that, like there's all these like phrases and words to describe it, the balance of life. But to really, when you really sink into it, it's like, fuck, we're all dealing with this shit, man. Like there's good and bad, and there's beautiful and there's ugly, and there's pain and there's joy. It's like we all experience it. And I feel like that song captures that, because it's such a bittersweet thing. Like it taps into my soul, it taps into my emotions. I could play that song at a funeral. I could play that song at a protest. I could play that song when I'm having a great day. And it would resonate in different ways with every day, because I feel like he captured life in that song. And I wish I had more lyrics, because all these lyrics are going through my head from this playlist I just made the other night about the protest stuff. And I don't think those are the type of lyrics we're talking about. But they still
well,
move.
I mean, if they are, yeah.
I mean, it's more of a certain type of mood I was trying to capture, like fight the system, fight, Rage Against the Machine, Public Enemy, all these type of guys. And those aren't necessarily songs I listen to all the time, but for this mood, that's what I'm feeling. But there's so much music. I mean, a lot of Bob Marley's music resonates that way. Mostly things that like reference spirituality and really, dealing with this in a way that's like, it's hard. We've been suffering. And no matter what, we're gonna rise above it somehow. Like whether it's my kids or me, or I'm willing to go out on my sword to fight for justice. Any of those type of things have always spoken to me spiritually. I'm sorry I don't have like one quote. I wish I did right now.
No, that's cool, man.
You caught me off guard.
So, do you have you created any music in quarantine?
Yes.
Are you stoked about it?
Yes. I'm taking my time with it. I'm starting to mix songs down now, finally. I feel like it's been interesting, man. Like I said, like the first 6 weeks I was lost. And then I started, cleaning myself up and started like really taking my meditation serious and not smoking weed all day. And then like my creativity was like, come here, like we need some medicine. So I've been recording way more. Yeah, exactly. No, seriously. Because really, I mean, my music is been like a bomb for me. Like in terms of, like when I was a kid, I would put on, like if I was heartbroken, my girlfriend broke up with me, I'd make a mixtape of all these love songs and like put them all in like, but it was like, you know that feeling. But it was like, it made me feel better, just that I could play something that it would resonate with my emotions. And so right now it's the same thing, except I'm just creating the music and really trying to express my feelings. And a lot of what it is, like, it's not necessarily, yes, I'm angry, but it's not all anger. It's more like confusion and like, what do we do with this energy that we feel? How do I channel it? How do I maintain myself as a good father and not get all edgy? Because there's days when just looking at this stuff over and over and over, and I'm like, my kids ask me something, I'm like, what? And they're like, Dad, what's wrong? And I'm like,
Like,
it's not.
This is what's wrong.
Yeah, like I've been looking at Instagram for the last 15 minutes, and all the posts are putting me in a mood. And so it's really like trying to figure out how to be true to myself and create something that's authentic, that's really being truthful about the times we're living in right now and the situations that people are presented with. And just trying to create medicine for myself and hopefully share that with others and they can resonate with it. But there's no really set formula for how I'm creating. I'm listening to beats and I'm writing music. I'm getting a lot of features, thank God. It's helping me like stay afloat. People have been hitting me up for music, and and I'm lucky that I just got new management, and it's so dope because like the first song they sent me like, yo, this group wants to do a song with you. I'm like, all right, send it. And I listened to the song and it's like, the lyrics are, I can't remember. Basically, it's like, the crown chakra will never bow. There's no way that they can stop us now. We have the strength to move a mountain. And I'm like, yes, like, thank you. Like, I'm writing on, like, there's these dudes I never met before. And this music is super positive right now, but it's like Rasta positive. Like, I'm aggressively positive right now. Like, I'm singing loud.
Aggressively positive. It's like, that's a mood. That's goals right now. Seriously, yeah.
I heard the song and I was like, it got me juiced. Like, thank you. Like, it's talking about the spirit of God and like tapping into yourself and having faith and trusting. And it's hard, but no matter what, we have this energy within us, this God force that we can always tap into, and don't be afraid to tap into it. And like hearing that, I was like, yeah, this is what it's all about. It's about creating something positive that no matter what, I don't care where you're from, you might not like it, but somebody's gonna listen to it and feel invigorated. Like, okay, I can do something. I can do something good for myself today. I'm gonna get out of the bed. I've been sleeping in the bed for 2 weeks. I'm gonna get out and take a shower, and I'm gonna go outside, and I'm gonna walk around, and I'm gonna talk to my friends, or I'm gonna call my mom. I ain't talked to her in a minute, or I'm gonna go see my friend and give him a hug. Just like, we need that encouragement. You know what I'm saying? Another thing, and I know I'm kind of going off right now, forgive me, but
you can go off all you want. I got nothing else to do today.
I see you in that room.
It's my birthday, so I don't give a shit.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Blessings. But like, one of my girlfriend, her family, she comes from like a revolutionary family, and we're going through all this stuff, and like, it's heavy. Some days are heavy. And she talked to her mom, and her mom was like, listen, be happy, laugh, joke. Like, you have to be happy through these moments. You can't just be out here mad and angry and we're going to fight the system and I'm mad and I'm angry. Because part of it is like your energetic state of being, which I'm coming to learn, is like, for me, it's important to have joy. Regardless of what's going on out here, when I see my kids, I need to be able to laugh with them. I need to be able to play hide and seek. I need to be able to pick them up and do jokes, and we laugh and we enjoy our space within that house. Because if I can't have that, then like, I don't know if I really have any happiness in myself. Regardless of what's going on out here, I have to maintain peace and love within myself. And that's a real big lesson for me right now, because it's hard sometimes. It's hard when you look on the news and you're like, why do they keep killing us? What's the agenda? Why did this man get murdered like that? You know what I'm saying? Why did this woman get murdered for no reason? Why did that girl get pushed off the balcony? Why was that dude hunted down in the street? Why? Why are they so scared of us? But still, to have the ability to, guys, let's go get some ice cream. Like, that's a skill I've been developing, and I'm very thankful for it. Because I don't, it's still our lives, regardless of what's going on. Like, we are accountable for how we feel and our own happiness. And it takes maintenance. There's not, I want to be happy. If I get a beautiful woman, I'm going to be happy. If I get a beer, I'm going to be happy. Well, that'll last for a little bit. If I get a nice house or the Tesla I want, these things come and go. If we can learn to maintain happiness within ourselves, maybe then we can actually create these things and just add on to what we already have as happiness within from a spiritual perspective. Yeah.
I'm hopeful. That sounds like a nice world. I'd like to live there. Let's do it.
I mean, I
We'll
really think
create it.
we are. I think we are in the creative stage though right now, where we are on the planet. Like, you know, I was talking to my Reiki healer last night, and she was speaking about like, yo, this is that new Earth that Eckhart Tolle talks about. Like, this is it. We're in it. You know what I'm saying? We're on like this cusp of. Hold on. I mean, just let's just take a step back and like think about the way technology has changed our planet within the last 25 years. Like, we're in a whole new space, literally. Like, everything goes global within minutes. What my thought is, I can post it or put it somewhere, and somebody in Japan or Germany or Russia or Ghana can pick up my thought instantly and vibe on it and then respond. So we're in a sort of collect, like a global telepathy somehow. Like, our thoughts are, we're all thinking at the same time. It's becoming like a hive mind in a way. And I think that it's incredibly important to be intentional with the things we create and put out there, because I feel like we can shape what's coming, or we can stay in the same mode and devolve. But I think life is all about evolution 100%. And growth. I think we can shape something better that'll fit for everybody. And I'm not talking about utopia. I'm talking about incremental growth and steps to become better as human beings.
What does that world look like to you, and how do we get there?
Wow. Now, when you ask me that, I just have to go science fiction mode, because I don't have any answers. I just have to do it. Yeah. I mean, I think that, you know, quite possibly the monetary system is shifting under our feet right now as we see it. And I'm not saying that's a good thing. I think that the power right now is being shifted into the hands of the elites even more than it was before. I feel like, at least in the United States, the middle class is going away. I think it looks like we're moving into a third world country. But I think that, you know, it's funny, man. Like, and I'm just going with my thoughts now. My son, you know, we live in the Bay Area. There's massive homeless problem here. I mean, there's tents everywhere. I mean, it wasn't even like this 5 years ago. San Francisco, yes, there's always been homeless. Oakland, not as much. There's been homeless there, but not like it is now. Like, there's cities erected all across the Bay Area. And like, he's like, you know, why? If we have so much money in California, why are there all these homeless? I was like, Cody, one of these billionaires could solve these problems if they wanted to. One of them.
Just one. That's all it takes.
They choose not to. So hopefully we can develop a more compassionate spirit where we actually value human life over material items. Hello?
There he is.
Sorry, my friend from the protest called me. I gotta hit him back after this, but it's just like, I think that if we just valued human lives and we're compassionate, and I mean, this society was set up on a chessboard purposely, and the Roman Catholic Church has a lot to do with it during the age of the, you know, Europeans coming into founding the new world, so to speak, and coming to America, going to Africa, blah, 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 colonization. That was all the church. The church has no problem with money. And I'm not really trying to talk about religion necessarily. I'm just really talking about the history of how we got here. And I think that chessboard was set up then so people could have control, and it's never really changed. And I think that if, you know, there was some kind of barter system or exchange of goods, exchange of energy and goods, rather than these fake promissory notes we pass around that aren't backed by anything except our consent, that would be a big shift alone. I just, you know, man, I think it's really a spiritual thing. Like, I feel like it's good to see white folks saying, you know, we don't stand for this. I hope it's not just a trend. I hope it's really.
I hope so too.
I hope it
sticks. We have an opportunity for it to stick.
Yeah, we do. And it's not about, I mean, it is because we're the symbol of it. It's not just about Black people. It's about life. It's about human beings. It's about.
Well, and I was telling my husband the other day, I was like, the second that this country can start protecting, prioritizing, loving human life as much as it loves money, it's a total game changer, right?
Yeah.
Like the second we stop, like, and to your point about like energy exchanges instead of paper, like if you think of, like, I love just as an exercise when I get frustrated about income inequality in this country, I'm like, so basically we've got a bunch of people that have stacks of paper that they're so scared that they're going to lose that they will put it in a building to protect it and lock it up. Like that's what a bank is, right? Like a bank protects pieces of paper, and we're like so obsessed with it and so beholden to it. Like we should have a whole nother episode where you and I just go sci-fi on this shit and build a new world, because I like where your head's at.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about it, because like sometimes I drive around and I'm just like, wow, look at all this, like, look at all this. And now how many civilizations came prior to this? And like, they're gone, you know, hundreds of years ago, 1,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. I don't know. It goes back and back and back and back. I mean, this is going to be gone eventually. You know what I mean? Like, what are we holding on to, and what are we building, and why?
Right.
And why if we have this new, it's like we're it's like the ego of humanity. Like we're the apex predator. And of the apex predators, I'm the apex predator in the apex predators. And it's like, I eat any animal I want. I eat any insect. I do this. I conquer places. I'm seeing on Groupon, buy an acre on Mars. You know what I'm saying? I go to Mars, I colonize Mars. I go to Brooklyn, I colonize Brooklyn. I do this. And then it's like, okay, but what happens when the next apex predator stops down and says, oh, you thought we was that guy. No. I have more, you know, this is sci-fi, but I'm saying, and it might be real. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but what happens when that happens? Now, are we all family now?
And now is it okay? Like, what will it take, really?
That's what I mean.
Like, when do we realize? What will it take? Because it hasn't stuck yet. So, like we've been saying, we have a real opportunity here for it to stick. And like that, when you were saying that you were in like numbing mode for the first 6 weeks, like I spent the first 2 weeks of quarantine in the fetal position, wondering how I'm gonna, like, we were a week into my US and Canada book tour, retreats, workshops, hikes all over the country, like spreading our message, doing the thing, everything we did last year, making it even better. And then this happens, and I was like, the reason that Hiking My Feelings was so impactful in such a short period of time was because we were taking people away from this and out into nature. And that was like, and now that wasn't available. So I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself, and a lot, like my journal, the one journal entry that I was able to write, because I couldn't even face my thoughts in my journal during that period of time. That one journal entry sounds suicidal, because all I did was just write down every crazy, negative, scary, death-related thought that was in my brain. And I was like, I have to get this out of my body, you know? And then, like you were saying, inspiration strikes. And I was like, well, I know I can't hike. I know I can't do these other things. And I know that we wanted to, like, because we were going to tour, but the way that we tour isn't going to be feasible for the foreseeable future now. So what do we want to do? What do we want to build? And in that spirit, now we're here and we're building a wellness center. And it's just like, this is a really beautiful opportunity, even though 40 million people plus are unemployed, even though businesses are boarding up either because of protests or literally boarding up because they can't open anymore. Like, everything sucks, but in the suck is a beautiful opportunity to create whatever we want, because this is a very different period of time. You know, like we could build the most beautiful world.
I totally agree. And like, you know, it makes me think of the idea that, you know, pressure forms diamonds. You know what I mean? Like, there's a silver lining. Like, I think I wrote this in one of my lyrics recently, is that like, so some of my greatest lessons have come from my darkest moments in my life. You know what I mean? Like, and it's unfortunate that I had to feel that bad, but out of that, I was like, okay, now I know that I can't do that. I can't go to those places. I can't go that place in myself. So therefore, I have to create something else to hold me steady in this way. And I think that's what we're experiencing right now. It's like you said, all these people are out of work. But when I go outside, I go to the park, people are jogging. I'm sure a lot of people are broke. I'm not feeling great about my money situation.
Not either.
But
Nope.
I'm out there with my friends, talking, we're running, we're doing Tai Chi. I'm hitting up people. When I get together with people, it's a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? And I'm making sure I get around people with a good vibe. So, but it's like, yeah, we're all suffering, but yet like, damn, life is not that bad. Like, damn. I mean, we're still able to, I'm surprised it hasn't gone. I thought this stuff that's happening now was going to happen in March, to be honest with you. I didn't think people were going to be able to stay inside without losing their minds. And it's interesting that this old wound of racial inequality in America that's been the thing to push people over the edge, because this thing has always been here. It's very interesting to me. You know what I mean? That it was the racial thing, because I mean, come on, man, it's always been there.
This isn't new. Yeah. So, it's like, this is some old shit.
But it's an old wound that's never been healed. So now it's like, kind of makes sense that, all right, out of all of this, that's the thing, because it never gets dealt with. Just like when I'm sitting at home by myself, I'm like, it's my heart. Like, you know, I need to deal with this situation in my heart. Like I've been closed up. I had a separation with the mother of my kids in 2018. So it's coming to stark focus in quarantine. I was like, damn, I'm just moving out of sheer survival rather than sitting and actually healing my wounds, like intending to what the problem is. And I think that's what's going on. So I think there is a silver lining to this thing, but we can't just sit back and be like, oh, it's going to work itself. No, it's time to
we have to actively create it. Yeah. We can't just sit and wait.
Which I think it sounds like from vibing off you with what you're doing. And I'm thankful that you reached out to me for this, because I'm doing that in my own way. And I'm looking for ways to like spread it wider and broader and with more depth outside of just music. And it's empowering to just see people handling this in a positive way. Like even when quarantine started, one of my homies who I work with, who makes merch for me, out of nowhere, he hits me up. He goes, hey man, how much money you need per week to stay afloat? And I'm like, wow, like this would be cool. I don't know. And he's like, okay, let me see what I can do. And I'm like, word? He's like, yeah. Next thing I know, this dude is sending me money week after week, just on the strength of being a good person. I mean, that shit put me in tears. I was like, oh my God. Like, and then my other homie, he was a great producer, Bass Nectar, same thing. He's like, yo, what's up? I know you're struggling, man. We all are. How can I help you? And I'm like, fuck, man, there's good ass people out here. Like, regardless of the stress, and they're struggling too, they want to help. And that empowered me to want to help other people. Like, damn, I want to say something positive now. I was feeling like shit. This is in the middle of me feeling like crap, by the way. And just to have my friends like rally and be like, yo, what do you need, bro? I was like, damn, man. Like, it was like so uplifting. And I think that's what is required right now. Whatever little strength we got, whatever little extra love we got, to pass that around as much as we can, because we need it.
Yeah. Well, so the next segment of this, and I'd love to have you stick around and tell us what you're grateful for, is our group gratitude circle. So if there's anybody in the Zoom chat that wants to participate, put on your video and I'll call on you. But in the spirit of what you were just saying about your friends that stepped up, what I'm really grateful for here is all of this space that we have. Like, we were in Joshua Tree when COVID hit, getting ready to host a workshop, and then everything just got canceled. So we came back to where we are here. This is the Reggae Ranch. We're out on 9 acres in Julian, California. And our friends Sue and Dustin bought this place last year, and they were like, hey, you have a home here, home base. Whenever you're not touring, wherever you want to do stuff, like, you can call this place home. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I cried for like 2 weeks. I was in the fetal position. I was feeling like everything's going to melt down and die.
Right.
And then we're walking up the hill, and Sue, one of the owners, she's like, we're walking up this trail that they cut, and she points over to this flat spot on the side of the trail. She's like, hey, that'd be a cool place to build something. And I'm like a tree house, a place to put a tent? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, or your retreat center. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And just, and then like out of nowhere, I was like, here's my chance. Like, this is my opportunity to build something that we want to build. This is like, and where we can do it. So I am so, so grateful for A, people that believe in the vision, B, people that can go through all of their own stuff. I mean, like, the story of both of the people that own this property is just heart-wrenching and affirming and inspiring all at the same time. And for them to have gone through everything that they've gone through and overcome what they've overcome, and then open up this space to us in the middle of a pandemic, like, I'm just so, so grateful for Sue and Dustin, who own this property, because without them, we would be homeless in our van. By now we'd be real stinky because we used to shower at the gym and all the gyms are closed. So like, it would have been a real mess by now. So I'm just so thankful. So in the spirit of our group gratitude circle, what are you grateful for?
I am grateful for my family and friends, like my sons, like through this whole thing. I feel like really they're just them being who they are in their presence. Even through my dark, when my 6 weeks, when I was just, I would look at them and they'd be like, Daddy, let's go here. And I'd be like, oh, it would just soften me. It was like all this, and I would just like kind of melt down and just like, yeah, let's go ride scooters. And then I'm outside in the sun and I'm like, suddenly my energy picks up and I see a couple people I know, we're talking and they're riding. And it's like all that pain for the momentary that I had, it just kind of like slides to the side. Also, like some of my best friends that I was with, my boy Deuce, my girl Mia, just like, I feel blessed to be surrounded with positive people. And they go in waves too. Like they've hit me up like, yo, I feel like shit today. You know what I'm saying? And God bless, that's the day that I feel good and I can help even them out. And I hit them up like, yo, I'm going through it. They're like, well, yo, let's do this. Let's go to this. Talk to me, come over. Let's go to the beach. Let's do, you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, I'm just really thankful, man, for community. Even my Qigong guys, like, you know, they closed the Qigong class at the beginning of quarantine. And there's a few like real Qigong warriors that no matter what, they're going to practice. And I text my boy on Instagram. He's like, yo, we're going to be out there regardless. And just being able to have some semblance of regularity around my practice. I'm just super thankful, man. Cause I don't know. I live pretty much alone. I have my kids when I'm with them. I have 50-50 custody. So when they're not with me, I'm in the house by myself. And that shit was scary for the first couple of weeks. And I'm thankful that I can be like, hey, I'm feeling weird. Can I come over? Yeah, come on. And like, I always have a place I can go or people that'll visit me or just like to pick up my spirit because it's really been tough. I'm feeling way better now with my spiritual practice, but I'm just really thankful for community around me that I have people that I can reach out to. I need some Kangen water. Come through, man. Yo, I need tips for my neck is sore from an acupuncture. Check out this dude. Yo, I need da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, yo, what herb? Check this herb out. Yo, take this rock. It's a shaman's, it's the sorcerer's stone. It'll help you focus. Take this black tourmaline. It'll knock off the negativity. Like, this is all energies. These are all examples of things that have been happening the past few weeks that like, I'm just so thankful for good people. Like I know good people. I'm super thankful for that. My friends aren't like, yo, fuck this shit. I'm going to go break a window. Blah, blah. I'm going to get jumped. None of my friends are doing that. And I'm thankful because if I was having to deal with that energy, I'd be frazzled right now. And I feel like I'm actually in a better place than I was before quarantine right now. God willing, I can stay there.
Which is so weird. And it almost feels like guilty to say that. But like you said earlier, like we have to claim that joy whenever we can find it. So thank you. So that was awesome. Thank